I'm Ellie, a 27-year-old woman, and I've had a challenging relationship with my younger brother, Michael, who's 24. Ever since he was born, it seemed like Michael was the star in our parents' eyes. They lavished him with attention and praise, often overlooking my needs and achievements. This favoritism only deepened as we grew up, creating a rift between us. Before Michael was born, I felt cherished and supported by our parents. They'd take me to the park, read bedtime stories to me, and proudly display my drawings on the fridge. However, once Michael came along, things took a drastic turn. He became the centre of their world, and it felt like I faded into the background. I vividly remember my 12th birthday disappointment. I had hoped for a bicycle, having hinted at it for months. Instead, I unwrapped clothes and books as my parents deemed a bike too costly. Shockingly, just 3 weeks later, they bought Michael a new bike for no particular occasion. When I questioned the unfairness, they simply said Michael needed more exercise than I did. This pattern of unequal treatment persisted. My academic achievements, like making the honour roll in middle school, were met with indifference. In contrast, Michael's average grades triggered family celebrations. During our teenage years, the disparity grew even starker. At 17, I got a job at a bakery to save for college, thrilled about earning my own money. Yet, when Michael complained about not having spending money, our parents forced me to share half of my earnings with him, threatening to make me quit if I refused. Michael felt entitled to my things throughout high school. My clothes, electronics, even my car once I had a license. Any complaints from me were dismissed by our parents, who preached about the importance of sharing. Despite feeling overlooked, I focused on my education, hoping it would bring me the recognition I craved. When I was accepted to my dream college with a scholarship, I was ecstatic. I imagined my parents would finally be proud, but their reaction was underwhelming. They simply nodded and moved on, further cementing my feelings of being second best. Given this background, I decided not to invite Michael to my wedding, seeking a day free from family dynamics. This decision led to my parents threatening to disown me. They even attempted to sabotage the event, but to their surprise, the day went perfectly, leaving them stunned and forced to reconsider their actions. This incident marked a pivotal moment in my life, highlighting the need for boundaries and self-respect in the face of lifelong favoritism. The incident was particularly memorable because it occurred just after a casual conversation about Michael's latest football game, highlighting the contrast in how our achievements were celebrated. A few years prior, when Michael was accepted into a local community college, our parents threw him an extravagant party, complete with extended family, catered food, and live music. Watching them celebrate what I saw as a relatively modest accomplishment filled me with a complex mix of hurt and resentment. My feelings of neglect deepened during my sophomore year of college. I had been diligently saving money to buy a high-quality camera for my photography class, which had become both my passion and my refuge from the stresses of my family dynamics. After extensive research, I had finally chosen the perfect camera that fit my budget. Excitedly, I returned home during winter break to make the purchase, only to discover that a significant portion of my savings was missing. I soon learned that Michael had taken the money without asking, using it to buy a new gaming console. When I confronted him, he nonchalantly suggested that I could simply save up again. Our parents, dismissive of my upset, advised me to have hidden my money better. This incident was my breaking point, making it painfully clear that I would never be a priority to them. In response, I withdrew from my family as much as possible, taking on additional jobs to support myself and seldom returning home. On the rare occasions I did visit, Michael would mockingly comment on my perceived aloofness, and our parents often echoed his sentiments, suggesting I had grown cold. Despite these challenges, I graduated with honours and secured a promising digital marketing manager. At my new job, I met William, who soon became my steadfast supporter. Over the past 5 years, he has shown immense understanding of my strained family relations. His family welcomed me with open arms, providing a stark contrast to my own experiences and showing me what a healthy family environment looks like. 10 months ago, William proposed during a romantic weekend getaway, and I was ecstatic about our future together. However, the prospect of wedding planning revived my anxieties about dealing with my family. After careful consideration, I chose not to invite Michael or my parents to the wedding. I wanted our special day to be marked by love and positivity, not marred by the negativity that had long tainted my familial relationships. When my mother tearfully inquired last week about the absence of an invitation, I explained calmly but firmly that our fraught history made their presence at the wedding untenable for me. She accused me of being selfish and vindictive. My father, joining the call, expressed that I was breaking Michael's heart by excluding him from the day. Despite these accusations, I stood by my decision, seeking to protect the sanctity of our upcoming celebration. Despite the long gap in our communication, he assumed he would be my best man. This bold assumption shocked me, but I stood firm in my decision, which was not negotiable. Michael reacted explosively, bombarding me with hostile texts and accusations of jealousy and selfishness. It seemed he had altered our shared childhood memories, portraying himself as the wronged party. My parents even threatened to disinherit me if I did not invite my family to the wedding. This type of manipulation would have affected me deeply in the past, but I have since moved beyond depending on them. William, my supportive partner, understands the unhealthy dynamics of my family relationships. He has offered to handle communications with them to protect me from their pressure. Some friends have suggested inviting my family to maintain peace, stirring doubts in me about possibly regretting their absence at my wedding. However, remembering the past pains and letdowns confirms why I am making this tough choice. I shared my story on Reddit seeking advice and received a lot of supportive feedback, which helped me stay strong. I mentioned that after further discussions with William, I remained resolute about not inviting Michael and my parents. William proposed a face-to-face meeting might help everyone find closure. We met at a cafe with my family, my mother visibly upset and my father disapproving. Michael seemed unusually quiet. As the meeting began, my parents lamented about family loyalty and ingratitude. After they finished, I calmly recounted instances where they had hurt me, stressing that our relationship did not justify their presence at my wedding. To my surprise, Michael confessed to sabotaging my camera in college, driven by jealousy over my academic achievements. This revelation stunned everyone, especially our parents, who finally seemed to see the real family dynamics. Attempts by my mum to downplay the incident and my dad's offer to fund the wedding, if included, were both firmly rejected. Their offer was another manipulation tactic, which I declined, emphasizing the importance of genuine support at our wedding. Michael's earlier remorse quickly turned into anger, as he accused me of feeling superior and warned of future regrets. At this point, William, who had been quietly supportive, intervened, suggesting it was time to leave, marking the end of a contentious but revealing conversation. As we prepared to leave the cafe, my mother, with tears in her eyes, grabbed my arm and asked if this meant I was cutting them out of my life permanently. I answered truthfully, telling her I was uncertain, but knew I needed space to heal and think everything through. In the days that followed that emotionally charged meeting, my phone was inundated with messages from various relatives. It became clear that Michael and my parents were sharing their own distorted version of the events. They were telling everyone that I was experiencing a mental breakdown and attempting to dismantle the family unit. My aunt even called, urging me to delay the wedding until I could come to my senses. The relentless flow of messages and calls was emotionally exhausting, causing me to occasionally doubt my decision. But then I'd recall the long history of pain and neglect, reaffirming my confidence that I was making the right choice for myself. William, ever supportive, proposed a weekend getaway to escape the family drama and reconnect with each other. We drove to a charming beach town a few hours away where we enjoyed long walks on the beach, sampled local cuisine, and simply relished each other's company. free from the dark cloud of family troubles. One evening, as we watched the sunset, William expressed his pride in how I stood up for myself. He reminded me that we were building our own family now, founded on mutual respect and love. That short vacation reinforced my resolution and helped me focus on the promising future we were planning together. We even started discussing relocating to a new city after our wedding for a fresh beginning, away from the toxic influence of my family. Upon returning home, I made the tough decision to block my family on my phone and social media. It felt drastic, but I knew I had to protect my mental well-being. As the wedding approached, we took additional practical steps to ensure the day would proceed without interruptions. We hired security for the venue to handle any potential surprise appearances, and password protected our vendor accounts to prevent any unauthorized changes to our plans. These measures were regrettable but necessary to keep the focus on our celebration. As the wedding day neared, I tried to concentrate on the joy of marrying William and the support of friends who had become like family. There was still a hint of sadness about the rift with my biological family, but I was learning to accept that I couldn't change them or compel them to treat me respectfully. All I could do was move forward and build the life and family I deserved. I was grateful for the overwhelming support from friends and online well-wishers who understood my situation after years of manipulation by my family. About a month has passed since then, and there have been both positive and challenging developments. William and I have finalised most details of our wedding, opting for a smaller, more intimate celebration with close friends and William's family. We selected a beautiful garden venue, and the florist created stunning arrangements featuring my favourite flowers. We also crafted a menu that reflects both our tastes. Practicing our first dance has been a delightful way to unwind, filled with laughter and the occasional stepped on toe. However, there has been some troubling news. Despite my explicit wishes, my family continued their attempts to interfere with our wedding plans. Last week, my mother unexpectedly appeared at my workplace. I was in a meeting when a colleague interrupted to tell me there was a distressed woman in the lobby demanding to see me. When I approached, I found my mother in tears, causing a scene, and pleading for me to reconsider her involvement in the wedding, claiming she had already made significant preparations on her own. As we stood up to leave the cafe, my mother, tear-streaked, green and desperate, clutched my arm. She pleaded with me, unable to bear the thought of missing her daughter's wedding. She had brought along photo albums from my childhood, hoping that these memories might sway my decision. I felt a mix of mortification and anger that she would ambush me at my workplace like this. I told her firmly to leave and warned her that if she tried anything similar again, I would not hesitate to call security. She left in tears, and I was left shaken and embarrassed, though my boss was understanding. A few days later, I received an unexpected email from Michael. It was a stark contrast to his previous angry texts. In the email, Michael reflected on his behaviour over the years. He admitted he had been a terrible brother and expressed a desire to make amends. He shared how he felt overshadowed by my successes and reacted by lashing out. Michael even offered to reimburse me for the camera he had broken years ago, having researched its current market value. While part of me appreciated his attempt at reconciliation and the gesture of paying for the camera, it felt like too little, too late. Years of accumulated hurt and resentment couldn't be erased by a single email, no matter how sincere. I replied, thanking him for his apology, but reiterating my need for space and affirming that my decision about the wedding remained unchanged. However, the situation escalated when I learned that Michael had obtained the contact information for our wedding venue. The venue coordinator called me, puzzled after someone claiming to be William tried to add 4 names to the guest list. Thankfully, due to our precautions, she verified with me first. I was shocked by Michael's audacity. It seemed like a significant breach of my boundaries and cast doubt on the sincerity of his apology. This instant confirmed my decision to exclude them from the wedding was the right one. William was livid when I told him about the deception. He suggested we consider a restraining order, fearing further attempts to disrupt our wedding. Although the thought of taking legal action against my own family felt drastic, the safety and sanctity of our wedding day were paramount. On a brighter note, William's family has been wonderfully supportive. His parents invited us over for dinner, and during a heartfelt conversation, his mum expressed how she already viewed me as a daughter and commended me for my courage in standing up for myself. It was incredibly affirming to feel so embraced and valued, especially given the stark contrast with my own family's behaviour. As the wedding approached, William and I engaged in premarital counselling, which has been invaluable for processing our experiences and strengthening our bond. We discussed our future and our desire to forge a different path from the familial patterns I grew up with. We also chose to celebrate our upcoming marriage in a unique way, opting for a private cooking class for our bachelor and bachelorette parties instead of traditional larger celebrations. It was refreshing to establish new traditions that felt personal and meaningful. Despite occasional pangs of guilt and sadness and fleeting daydreams of reconciliation, like my father walking me down the aisle or dancing with my mother at the reception, I remained firm in my resolve. The ongoing support from William, his family, and our friends reinforced that I was making the right choices for my future. As we neared the wedding, I focused on the excitement of marrying William and starting our new life together, filled with genuine love and support. The drama with my family continued to loom in the background, but I felt increasingly confident in the path we were choosing. After a whirlwind period filled with ups and downs, William and I are about to embark on a peaceful honeymoon at a quaint beach resort nearby. I'm eager for some serene time together following the whirlwind of wedding preparations and the big day itself. I'm truly grateful for the ongoing support and advice from everyone. It's been a transformative journey, and I'm excited to start this new chapter of my life with William. The wedding day, despite the prior turmoil, turned out to be absolutely perfect. We held our ceremony outdoors, surrounded by close friends and William's warm, loving family. The weather cooperated beautifully, the food was exceptional, and the dance floor was bustling all night. One particularly heartfelt moment was during the reception when William's sister delivered a speech. She expressed her happiness about gaining a sister in me, which moved me to tears, and underscored how fortunate I am to be the part of such a supportive family. As for my own family, they made one final attempt to be the part of the day. About an hour before the ceremony, my parents and Michael unexpectedly showed up at the venue, all dressed up and claiming they came to support me. I was in the middle of getting my hair done when a bridesmaid came to tell me, visibly upset. For a moment, I was overwhelmed with anger and sadness. But then, catching my reflection in the mirror in my wedding dress, I was reminded not to let their actions spoil this beautiful day. Thankfully, the security team we had wisely hired managed the situation with professionalism. They escorted my family away discreetly, ensuring the day proceeded smoothly without any further disturbances. The ceremony itself was magical. As I walked down the aisle toward William, seeing his joyous reaction, I felt an overwhelming sense of certainty about my decisions. We exchanged vows we had written ourselves, and there wasn't a dry eye to be seen. William's parents looked on with pride, and I've never felt more embraced and loved. The reception was a vibrant celebration where we danced, laughed, and created memories to cherish forever. William even surprised me with a song he had composed, performed alongside his college band. It was a highlight of the day, a moment of sheer happiness I'll always hold dear. In the weeks following the wedding, I have received various messages from extended family members. Most have been supportive, stating they understood my decision after seeing the joy on my wedding day. A few expressed regret that my immediate family wasn't there, but respected that it was my choice. Michael sent another email, this time apologising for his attempt to disrupt the wedding. He admitted that being turned away by security made him realise the seriousness of my need for boundaries. He mentioned starting therapy, which I hope is a genuine step for him toward betterment. My parents haven't reached out since the wedding, though my aunt says they are heartbroken, but are trying to respect my wishes for space. While part of me feels guilty, a larger part of me feels a sense of relief that this chapter is finally closed. Tomorrow, William and I leave for a 3-week honeymoon in Greece, something we've eagerly anticipated for months. We're both looking forward to unwinding, exploring, and beginning our married life together away from any familial drama. Reflecting on everything, I am proud of myself for standing firm against the pressures and emotional manipulations. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary for my mental well-being and the health of my relationship with William. I'm optimistic about the future and eager to embrace this new chapter of my life.